I've had a couple people ask me about the right brachial chain and what that is. The right brachial chain is an area of muscles that they don't rotate you to the left, but they keep you there once you're already there, okay? So with the left AIC, right BC, right brachial chain pattern, you have a pelvis that's oriented to the right, and then a torso that has to come back and rotate back to the left. If I do it with him, all the tape is going to pop off. So I'm just going to do it myself. Pelvis orients to the right, and then I need to counter-rotate back to the left. And in that position, you'll see how I'm side bent to the right. So I'm side bent to the right, rotating to the left. Once that position is established, more or less permanently, once you're in that pattern, so to speak, the right brachial chain of muscles keeps you there, and it prevents you from shifting fully to the left side, and it prevents you from rotating to the right, which is what we need. So in essence, you are stuck on your right side with a pelvis forward and a torso counter-rotating left. Even when you shift over to the left side, you're still on your right side. You would need to do this. Pelvis on the left would need to move back. Torso would have to counter-rotate to the right. But the right brachial chain pattern, once it's been established, it could be preventing you from getting back into left AFIR, left stance, and it prevents you from rotating to the right. Now, the important thing to realize is that these left internal obliques, we're on this rough approximation of where they are. We need those abs, we need those left obliques, IOs and TAs, to pull us back over to the left through exhalation. So in all these exercises, in the PRI exercises, the exhalation part is incorporating the internal obliques and the transverse abdominis to help pull us back over to the left, so we can get into true left stance position, true left AFIR, true left rib internal rotation. Once we keep it there, or once we get there on exhalation, then as you inhale, we have to hold that position as we inhale to open up that right side. Now, on this right side, it's in red, and you'll see from here all the way down to the pelvis, we're just going to say that's the right intercostal muscles, right ab wall, right diaphragm. You can even say right QL, even though it's not necessarily part of the chain of muscles. But again, it's this whole right side that's shut down. You could, for a lot of people, all you have to do is get a left hamstring to pull the pelvis back, exhale, and upon inhalation, that right side is going to open up again, and now you've kind of broken the pattern. Other people might be a little bit more stubborn, and one of the places that this will occur is pec minor and subclavius. The pec minor will pull the scapula on the right side forward and down. So often on the right side, you have a left shoulder that's higher than the right. On the right side, everything's being closed down, internally rotated and pushed down, and you have no space. A lot of people I'm pretty sure a lot of thoracic outlet syndrome, because you got a lot of nerves coming through right through this area, a lot of nerves, especially that go down into the arms. I bet a lot of thoracic outlet syndrome is being caused by this position because everything is so closed down. So you have something going on here also. What this does, and not only that, you then have the neck that's being stuck in a right side bend position. So again, it's this whole right side that's really compressed and tight. So it's not only the ab wall, which is, and this is a frontal plane issue. This is a frontal plane issue. Okay, it's not only that right ab wall, but in other circumstances, it could also be. I just lost my obliques. It could also be the right pec minor that goes from the acromion process of the right scapula and attaches to ribs 3, 4, and 5. It's a pretty wide area. That can completely keep this. That can keep this shut down. And then the right subclavius, which goes from the first rib to the inside of the clavicle. And the clavicle is interesting because it needs to rotate. But when, for a number of reasons, if that subclavius gets too tight, it's going to hold the first rib and the clavicle together. The clavicle and the first rib should be able to separate. When they don't, you cannot breathe properly. You're never going to be able to get back to the left because you can't open up the right side to allow yourself to shift to the left side. All right? So again, it generally comes back to the left ZOA. We always need to get the left ZOA to get these exhalation, to bring the ribs on the left internally, down, back, and in, to bring the pelvis on the left side back into left AFIR to establish that left zone of apposition. And then as you inhale, hopefully this will all pop open, and now you can actually go back side to side without getting stuck over to the right side again. And that's really what you have to know. The brachial chain, the right brachial chain muscles, I don't think you have to get too wrapped up in all the individual muscles. You just have to know that it's keeping you over to the right. It's keeping, it potentially can keep the collarbone and the ribs compressed together, and they need freedom in order to breathe. And they can hold your center of mass over to that right side. So no matter how many exercises you do to try to get left side, it just won't allow that to happen. So in order to get a left ZOA, sometimes the right brachial chain is preventing that from happening, especially when you have a tight right pec minor, but even more so when you have that tight right subclavius. And it's holding the scapula forward, so you'll have a lot of shoulder blade issues, shoulder issues on the right side because of the mispositioned scapula that's mispositioned in the back because of these muscles that are pulling it forward. And that is pretty much it. And it doesn't mean you necessarily have to do a lot of manual work on it either. But you may, if that subclavius does not, well, if you do have a tight subclavius, you're probably going to have to do some manual work to get that to release. I was one of those people. I had a tight subclavius. You could actually see my shoulder blade coming forward. You could see my collarbone was very, very prominent. And I eventually realized that I had to get my subclavius, so I just massaged it, and it hurt like heck, and I was bruised the next day, but it went back, and then I was able to get more freedom. So that is the right brachial chain. Again, don't get too wrapped up in the exact muscles. Just realize it keeps you over to the right, it keeps you rotated to the left, and it's preventing you from shifting your weight to the left. It's preventing you from getting the pelvis back on the left, and it's preventing you from getting the ribs on the left to come down, back, and in to establish that left ZOA. And then because you can't get that left ZOA, the inhalation is not opening up that right side.